Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the December user group of Turnkey Technologies. We're pleased to have you with us today. So I have the pleasure of having a few minutes to speak with you all this morning, and just some different thoughts from Chris, since I don't often get to talk to this group. But I penned this slide, and I'm thinking this week as to year-end reflections and the planning forward. And the first bullet, I'm sure everybody would agree that 2020, a year to remember, when everything changed. And I think that's a great statement. I mean, it's for good or for bad. There's been ups and there's been downs, and to that point, you think about reflection and how's the business changed in 2020. And I don't just put these here just to have you say, yeah, sales are up, sales are down. I lost staff, I added staff. New product or service offerings, new tools to deliver services, remote versus in-person workforce. If we think about the impact of these different things, and there are a lot of people, sales are up. I mean, I've had a great economic report from a group that I belong to, Vistage CEO Group, and they're bullish. And again, there's a lot of optimism about what's coming in 21 and 22. Maybe not if you're, a restaurant owner, but there's still, that innovation and how do we change and how do we change the way we look at things. And, I think to that reflection is a lot of the conversations we have is, what are we going to do different in 2021? A lot of people pivoted this year, pivoted quickly, and changed. They added new offerings. I know people that are manufacturing hand sanitizer that didn't do that before, and they're like, hey, let's hurry up and do that. I've got a group that was doing food, and they went from 5 million to 20 million in revenue in 6 months. So their annual 5 million run, now they're at 20 million. It sure changes the perspective on how do you manage the business and what systems and what technologies. But as I say those things and we talk about how will you change your approach in 2021? And, every year when I used to have the crowd in front of me, it's like the little thing with the snow and you want to shake it up. What do we want to do different? We think about how do we sell? Or moreover, how do we engage with our customers? And that's been different where here I am doing a Teams call with you guys instead of standing in front of you. We're doing Zoom calls. We're doing WebExes. But the person-to-person, the face-to-face interaction has changed, and we need to innovate. And so again, you think about how do I sell? How do I engage with my customers? It's a big deal. We're all talking office space. Do I keep it? Do I own it? Do my workers come back? Once the vaccines are out, can I mandate people come back? Maybe I rent half of it. There's a lot of conversations about office space, just a few topics. And then certainly the worker topic is the broadest one that, you rationalize is, okay, how do you deal with this? And what programs did we put in place last year? What programs do we need in 21 as we think about sick time and policies on testing and quarantining and in the office versus remote and on and on and on. And again, the last part of this one is just that challenge on planning. And I'm a big planning nut. I just had a session with my my CEO coach, and she wanted to see what's my 21 plan look like. And she said, wow, it's all documented. And it is. And I write it down. And that's the last thing is, do you write it down? And I think that my challenge to individuals and business is just that is do a planning activity. And some of it's around how do we change the way we think about 21 based on the impact. And sure, there's a vaccine coming out, but are we going to notice a difference before summer? I don't think so. But again, the business plan. What do we do different in 21? What did we do great in 20? What did we not do in 20 we should do in 21? And again, this is a plan. This is about setting some goals, setting some objectives. And I can go on, and I'm not gonna, but I would challenge people to do it on a personal side as well. What new skills, what new traits, what new experiences. Again, everything's changed. We're not traveling, maybe not dining out, not seeing family as much, but I do challenge everybody as part of this session to think about their 2021 planning. Just a few comments. Dynamics GP. I still love this product line, and as I found this, it's still relevant. It's absolutely relevant. I mean, the number of companies are still 40-something thousand businesses running on GP. I've got a partner who's built a payroll app for timekeeping. There's 17 million people being paid out of GP payroll. So again, it is still a relevant architecture. Again, SQL Server, GP services, desktop client, web client, companion apps, Office, Azure, all relevant. Where does GP live? Does it live locally on a server? Does it live in Azure? Does it live in Amazon Web Services? Does it live in a hosting center? That's agnostic. I think that the point is this application is like a solid engine that's going to continue to propel you into the future. To that point, I went out and I grabbed, okay, what roadmap could I find out there? And, GP is not end of life. It is still being planned. And this says a lot. It says ongoing development, intelligent edge. Intelligent edge is connecting GP to Dynamics 365. And that's a topic that I think people should explore as they look at what does that open up. Top features. And again, there's a lot more granularity out there if you want to drill down as to what showed up and what's come out in the current release. And certainly there's a big push now to get you on 2018 R2 so that you can get these periodic or basically every 6-month service pack type updates, which are going to be more easy to apply, and it's not going to be as expensive and so forth. And I'm sure my practice director, Paul Roth, will allude to that a little bit. But still, planning forward and continuing to enhance this. And, You know, and I look at the release themes and I think about what have they done here, and yeah, they're capitalizing on this as you look at optimizing the finance and the HR experience and user experiences, and doc attach as they've added more points of impact, and Power Suite. Again, you go back to this, how do I get beyond GP? How do I extend my application? And if you haven't looked at the suite of Dynamics 365 capabilities, whether that's in the customer engagement point or in the Power Apps point, there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot to consider there as you look at your application and the support of that. You know, I used this slide last time because I still believe in it, and as you think about your 21 planning, and you've got to do it, just as we said earlier, is what do you want to do that you didn't do last year? What would be nice to achieve, to save? Again, my top ones that we talked about people about is turnkey total care, because again, we're still passionate about having a comprehensive offering, and you know, we talk about which clients deserve this or need this. It's, you know, the smaller organizations, can they have a relationship with Turnkey that's a little more formal, that provides support, that provides a scrum meeting, and again, Paul's going to talk about total care, but I'm passionate about that, and I urge all of you to look at it. I talk about the upgrade, you know, continuous updates. There is a value in being on the current release and getting some of these capabilities. You pay the license, you pay the enhancement, why not have the features and capabilities? So again, we're ready today to do that. Most of you knew I sold my data center in May of this year, Cinco de Mayo, in fact, and my partnership with CyberLink ASP has done very, very well. So there's about 26 customers that we had in the data center at that point in time. We've added more. So again, does GP live on? It lives on. Move to the cloud. Move it in the cloud and have it managed where you're focused on running your business and not infrastructure, and you know that GP is going to be more sustainable and more risk tolerant. That's the key word there. Guys, there's so many nefarious people out there trying to hack and ransomware, and you know, to one degree is we went upstream. CyberLink's a much bigger partner. They've got more capability, and everybody that was in that data center is in a much better place today. And frankly, we're selling it. We believe in this vision of the cloud for GP, and again, it creates a more sustainable, more risk tolerant. And so, very important opportunity. I talk about Dynamics 365, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's not going away. There is an opportunity to do an assessment. We'd love to do that for you, whether it's Business Central you want to look at or finance and operations. We're absolutely migrating. I'm migrating GP customers to both of the platforms, and we've completed those, and it's going very, very well. We do Service Office 365. Wes Hader, who's joined the team recently, is the champion of that product line, and visioning, expansion, service, looking at how do you make that better? How do you take advantage of some of those new capabilities? As we think about integration opportunities, we like to integrate data. We don't want to rekey things. Again, we've built a lot of integration IP for, you know, GP to CRM, to Salesforce, to e-com, to line of business apps. So ask about that. Again, if you're rekeying, a lot we can do there. Again, other hot topics. I love workflow. You'll see in the next slide, there's a lot going on there. Payment processing, document scanning, budgeting, advanced financials, even requisitioning. Again, Power BI. You know, there's a lot of extensibility. Create new experiences for your team or for your customers or your vendors. You can extend Power BI, and a key customer may love having a dashboard of how you're servicing him. A vendor may love a dashboard of how your shipping performance is going with him, and it may help them improve their life. Customer engagement. Again, I'm still passionate about this, is every company needs this tool to manage their intellectual property, which is your customers, your relationships. I can't emphasize that enough. And again, we've got a new practice director, Jennifer Clark, joined the team. And she's passionate about bringing this solution out to our customers. So keep that in mind, even if you just want to have an evaluation or a vision demo. Mobility. Mobility is one of those front line. How do I get people to have an app on their phone where they can complete work and drive efficiency in the org? I found this slide, and I wanted to include it because as you really think about the evolution of workflow, and it is still evolving. And if you look at different workflows and purchase receipt approvals and purchasing invoice approvals, and hey, 2018 R2, look at that, sales transaction approval. It is still being developed. Workflow is a hidden gem in your installation. People manage by rule, which means you touch everything. Workflow helps you manage by exception. Route what needs to be routed, approve it autonomously or with serial or parallel workflows. This is a discipline that will drive efficiency in your organization. And if you're not using it today, take that step. Okay, Dynamics 365. Guys, the Microsoft Cloud is done so well. 19.2 billion is the R&D budget for Microsoft in 2020. That's substantial. And the reason I point that out is, again, not everybody's consuming part of the cloud. And just because you're on GP does not mean you can't consume part of this and value from this. And really the pillars here, you know, it's digital transformation. better to engage customers, better engage your employees, empower the employees, and optimizing and transformation. And one of the key things on this slide is unmatched security and governance. And that's a big conversation I have with people these days as we extend our applications, is to extend the governance where we know that it's controlled. We know that it's authenticated. We know that it's multi-factor, for example, and I'm not going to be hacked. I'm not going to be ripped off. But the capability that's embedded in the Microsoft Cloud continues to evolve. I use this slide for somebody else, as I always say. We're down here talking about ERP. And ERP is one little pillow up there in the Microsoft Cloud. But as you look at the orange content and we talk about customer engagement, one of the comments, this customer I was talking to, they run Salesforce. I'm like, so what? I would still plug in a couple licenses of customer engagement. And they're like, well, why? Because of artificial intelligence. You could take GP and drop in CRM, customer engagement, and drop in sales, and let it suck your data in there, and you could turn on the customer insights, and guess what? All of a sudden, you've got this artificial intelligence that lives in the Microsoft Cloud that's learning not at your expense, but all the expense of all the other data it consumes, and it provides insights. And there's one angle where I connect GP to CRM, and I let the artificial intelligence tell me what I'm missing. And that plays its marketing, its sales, and even project operations. Again, we see Office 365 in there. We see Power Apps. Again, get out of the box. Think about, how do I change the way that I analyze my data? So even just the data, what am I missing? There are tools out there that can enhance that, and it's not compromising to GP. In fact, it'll consume the GP data. As you think about Edge and Insights, there's already a mechanism to consume GP data up into the Business Central Cloud. It really is a low footprint. You just have to have a single user license. So I'm reminding people of that. Even Talent's been rebranded Human Resources. It is a slick app, and it's Dynamics. It's in the Dynamics Cloud. So again, you can incrementally consume these applications. A little busier slide, again, as we talk about what's in the cloud, just a different way to look at it. But certainly as you think about the Azure and the learning, that's a big deal. That's the differentiator. It's game changing. And what they're investing in that, it's getting really, really smart, and it's really powerful. And the people that are using it are outperforming their competition. Last comment, again, I thought this was an interesting one as you think about a high-level comparison of key differences, GP on-prem versus Business Central, because believe it or not, a lot of people are considering moving to Dynamics 365, and why would you do it? Total cost of ownership. There's no question that BC is cheap. It is a value play. I tell people that. I said the licensing is cheap. It still costs money to move, that upfront move, but long-term, high sustainability, total cost of ownership is very low. Monthly subscription versus perpetual license annual maintenance. We're comparing those. Physical or virtual infrastructure, great. Azure multi-tenant infrastructure. Again, I am not managing that application in a Business Central world, whereas GP, whether I'm on-prem, in a cloud, it's still an on-prem app that I'm managing. You see it, do-it-yourself upgrades, whether you're doing it, whether a partner's doing it. Again, we all know that there is a cost to that. And again, if we get on the latest release, the footprint has shrank. However, in the BC, you don't deal with it. You don't have a maintenance. Your total cost of ownership, again, very strong. Security, okay, variable, available, great. We can do different things, but we're still, we call it the trust. We're the trust owner. I'm the trust owner. The customer is the trust owner in Dynamics GP. If you're in a data center, great. The hosting partner is you a trust owner, but you're still a trust owner. You move over into the Microsoft Azure cloud, guess what? Microsoft becomes a trust owner. It's a very different positioning. The security, the high availability, the multi-factor authentication, again, just the resilience of the application. That's one reason that people are moving that. Windows client, web client, you get it. Access depends on network config, performance. We move over to the BC side, it's all web client. It's very responsive. It's high performance. Disaster recovery, you see the comparison, high disaster risk. Again, we can plan, we can put a lot at it, but there's still a lot of cost to do that, whereas over here on the BC side, those are inherent features and capabilities. So again, I wanted to do a high level. Why do people consider it? Again, it's the same thing. I'm an owner. I've been running Dynamics GP for 15 years. I switched to Dynamics AX. I'm still on premise. So I'm still in the left. I'm moving my Dynamics AX to Dynamics 365, and I will gain all of those benefits on the right side. And I look forward to that. And I think that even as I deprecate on-premise infrastructure, again, I'm in this business, everybody, and so you hear my stories. Believe me, that's a drive that I'm making. Last one, just a Business Central roadmap. As you can see, this is being planned out very, very far. Again, common data services, common data model. It's all in the cloud. It's all in the same cloud. Office is in there, Business Central's in there, customer engagement's in there. What that means is there's a high degree of flow natively of the information. I can get an Outlook email and it looks in BC, it sees the customer, it can create the sales order. That stuff just doesn't happen accidentally, but the roadmap is planned very far into the future for Business Central. So be confident. That's the one I'm going to leave you with. I've probably taken more of my time. Actually, last comment, Microsoft will be calling you if they haven't called already. Come back and talk to us. And again, there's a conversation I had recently with about a $40 billion integrator, and it's called Migration Factory. So Microsoft is pushing. They will be calling into you, and they do want to move GP customers to BC. They don't understand that people love GP like we understand that, so we recognize that. We are not going to be forcing people. However, if you want to talk about it, please call us. We'll be here to service you in any way we can. Hey, thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.